In the last few years, AI has moved from being a feature inside products to become something much more structural. We are no longer just adding automation, we are redesigning how work is divided between humans and machines. Today, we are exploring agentic systems, voice-based AI interviews, and what engineering culture looks like inside an AI-native company. I'm joined by Robert Sárosi, growth engineer at Fireflies.ai. He has built real-time systems, founded startups, and now works at the intersection of product, engineering, and AI infrastructure. Robert, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Okay, so let's dive in. You started in real-time systems and gaming infrastructure. What did that learning applies to the AI agents for you?
I was a founder of DualBox. DualBox was a gaming platform, a real-time gaming platform. And it was really interesting because when you have 100 real-time connections, that's not a big deal, but you have thousands or tens of thousands or even millions of real-time connections, that's a big engineering task. And also it's really important to get a connection between AI systems and real-time systems, because AI systems works really the same in the manner of they are autonomous. They need to be low latency and they need to be really reliable.
What was the moment when you realized that AI systems weren't just tools, but coordination systems?
I think the main realization or wow factor was when I was able to use AI systems autonomously, independently, to work on larger and more complex tasks. Before, we used mini baby AIs for computer vision in robotics when we were at the university. But that was more like, it felt like a toy or something to play with. I knew that in industry or applications, they are heavily using this kind of AI, but that felt a little bit, too simple that time.
Okay,
Yeah.
We are talking about agentic systems that in simple terms, how can you describe what is a truly agentic system?
Yeah, a truly agentic system when the computer or the software can autonomously perceive, plan, reason, and execute, and also learn. I think that's really important that add learn to it, because this closed the loop, the agentic loop, and if the model, the underlying model, getting better and better, and you gain trust in the model, then you will have this agentic moment in your career when you realize that this is more than a tool. It's like your coworker.
What do you see, what is the most common mistakes that companies doing when they try to implement agentic systems?
Usually, people overestimate the capabilities of these models out of the gate, because these models and these agentic systems can achieve a lot, but some of them not out of the gate, so you have to work on that.
If we are talking about multi-agency models versus well-designed workflows, when do you actually need these agentic models and when is a well-designed workflow is enough?
Yeah, I think a well-designed workflow is enough if the task is really predictable. But if it's not, it's unpredictable, the environment changes a lot, then you will need agentic tools to handle those tasks.
What's the difference between an automation and an agentic system?
Agentic system is a kind of automation, but if we would like to separate these two terms, automation is more predictable, so you knew the steps upfront, but AI systems, you do not know the rules upfront, so you cannot. So the system needs to figure it out just in time, what to do.
I heard that you are also working with voice agents.
Yep.
And what do you see that which industries will adopt voice agents and the fastest and why?
Yeah, the fastest adaptation of voice agents is happening in the sales, obviously, because if you would like to scale sales really fast, you cannot hire people that fast. How fast you can handle or hire an AI agent, a voice agent.
Can you just mention a few real examples that how we can imagine when a company using, let's say in customer service, an AI agent versus hundreds of people?
Yeah, a single person have a single throughput, but these voice agents have unlimited bandwidth to handle these kind of calls. And if you teach this, the underlying voice agent or the underlying agent, you teach how to handle certain situations, how to reply, how to handle customers, for example, in a customer support who has a rage because they couldn't find something useful in your product. If you teach this, it will perform 100% correct all the time.
And what do you see in recruitment industry? Do you see any early signs that they are also using voice agents?
Yeah, absolutely. Fireflies, one of our product is a voice agent for recruiters. It's usually used for screening calls.
Which parts of the recruitment process they can do like 100% or even better than the actual humans right now?
So an AI agent can perceive more from a single call than a single person would. What I think the AI lacks the impression or the intuition. Obviously, these are machines, these are softwares, so they do not have this one. But what they can do is analyze the non-verbal communication really well, the sentiment. It can catch lies. It can catch if the candidate not telling the whole story or the truth. It can do the the background screening really well and compare these. And also it can listen between the lines, so it can match the candidate better to certain job descriptions.
Okay, and before all the recruiters are just quitting their jobs and they hear this talk, what are the parts that an AI cannot now or maybe never replace the human in this recruitment process?
I think what AI cannot filter out when you reach around, when your future coworkers interview you, that whether you are culturally a good fit to the team. Because that is too complex right now, I think. Over time, maybe you can teach these models. Yeah.
And if I'm talking with an AI agent, let's say an AI agent doing an interview with me, that what is it really picking up from my answers? What is it measuring?
You talk with this voice agent, and your voice will be transcribed, and it will compare your answers to the job descriptions. So it's really important to focus your answers based on the job descriptions. So I think general answers not work anymore. So you have to be really specific, and not specific only for the role or the industry. You have to be specific for that company, that role, that problem that they would like to solve. That's really key.
Do you have any advice for future candidates who are doing their first interview with AI agents? What do they aim for, or how they can make a great interview out of it?
You can also use AI tools to coach you for the interview. I think that's a key because we are, as a company, using these models. If you coaching with a model, you can somewhat understand how the model will evaluate your answers.
What do you think? This will make hiring more objective or just more automated?
First part will be more objective, and also what I mentioned for the sales and customer support, it enables the company to operate on a higher throughput because they can screen way more candidate with this technique than a human or a team can do.
Interesting. Let's talk about your workplace, Fireflies. What make Fireflies different from a traditional software as a service company?
Yeah, that was really interesting to change from a Hungarian startup. We were a Hungarian startup, but we operated globally before I joined Fireflies.ai. But it was a huge change because Fireflies is a really, really fast-growing company, one of the hottest startups in the Valley right now. This company is fully remote, so we have no official offices. We have more than 100 employees all over the world, but because of this, they created a culture that was really interesting. The whole company operates on Slack, operates on public channels. And because Firefly's mission is to uncover the knowledge from the company conversation, the conversations, the meeting, the Slack messages that is happening inside the company, we are building a huge knowledge base. And because we are building a huge knowledge base, there are no silo knowledges. So you can search the company knowledge base, you can get answers really fast, and you are not blocked by the lack of information most of the time.
How AI native is your internal workflow?
Yeah, it's absolutely AI native. Because we are an AI company, our founders coming from MIT, and they are really open to this new technology. And because they are realized early on that AI tools are not an enemy and the whole business is building on AI tools, we should use them more and more. And if we are using more and more, we are gaining more and more knowledge about these tools. We are getting better at these tools, and we can cut ahead of the competition.
Let's tell about these Slack bots and analytics assistants. So how they change the decision making within the company?
If we bump into an issue multiple times, then automate it. So we are trying to automate the repetitive tasks to gain more speed and increase reliability inside a company. So this is why we have multiple chatbots living with us in the Slack workspace. One of my team lead project was to introduce a growth bot, and you can answer any growth related questions to this bot, and this bot will go into our user behavioral data in BigQuery, gather the data autonomously and craft an answer for you, and all the answer is grounded in real human user behavioral data. It's really good because it's increased our company reliance on real world data. So it's not a gut feeling anymore, or not some sort of hallucination that this might work, or we should do this because of. Right now it's grounded to real user data.
If you are talking about the engineering culture at your company, so all this AI nativeness, the remote workplace, all the AI agentic system that you are using, how is it changing the engineering culture?
I think that the biggest gap that you need to go through in your mind is that you have to trust these AI coding tools more and more. Trust, but verify. So not blindly trust, but you have to lean onto them more and more. Because with agentic engineering, you can 10x your output as a single engineer.
If you are talking about using AI tools, AI softwares, is it better for your company to use multiple AI providers, or just focusing on one?
If you keep switching between models, then you are not able to learn a model, because a model behaves in a certain way. Another model behaves maybe in a very different way. If you're trying to use the same skill with different models every day, then you will never learn why the model can do some task and not capable to tackle others, and you will be not able to steer. I think it's the same like the human and horse situation. If you race on different horses all the time, you cannot make the connection, you cannot learn the horse reaction, and you cannot use the harness to steer or control the horse.
Yeah, that's a good example. Okay. And how do you make sure that the system stays reliable and not fail or become inconsistent?
If you build an agentic system, it's really hard to debug because it's making decision on its own, and sometimes you are not really sure why it made a certain decision one time, but you try to run the same task again, maybe with a slightly different prompt, and it's not a little bit different, but completely different output what you are getting. So you need to learn this, and this is why a new term introduced recently called the harness engineering. The harness is the control thing that you are using to control a horse. So the same thing you can use to control or steer the AI. And it's really important that if you are writing a prompt, you are not controlling the AI, you just steer it. You just try to nudge it to a certain direction.
Can we say that in the future, AI becomes an operating system for companies?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think AI will become the operation system of certain companies. Using these tools have an economic positive impact, not all the situations, but for example, in engineering, 100%, it multiplies the output, then absolutely.
Yeah, you say it multiplies the output, but on the other hand, there are also a lot of voices that fearing this new technology and fearing their job. Maybe software developers will lose their job, or less software developers would be needed. What do you think about this topic?
It's a complex topic because I knew people who lost their jobs. People were at a company and they got fired because of AI, but also jobs lost because the company is not opening a role. Yeah. That's also a lost job. But on the other hand, I see new jobs are opening because of AI.
What is one skill that would be mandatory in 2026?
I think you have to change really fast, and you have to learn really fast, because as I mentioned, what you learn today, it can be obsolete 2 weeks later.
One misconception about AI agents.
They will steal your job. I think it's a misconception. What I see that this is a tool that can multiply the output of a company, maybe the same team, and you can cut ahead of the competition.
One book or idea that influenced your thinking?
If I need to mention one book that influenced my thinking, is the Bible. Maybe it's shocking to you, but...
Care to explain?
Yeah. So the Bible has everything that we are experiencing in our life. So that's our user manual for the life. And this is what influenced me a lot.
I think that was all for today. Thank you, Robert, for your time.
Thank you very much.
It was really nice to see you.
Thank you very much.